The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 were pivotal events that not only brought World War II to a close but also ushered in the nuclear age. These bombings had profound immediate and long-term effects on Japan and the world, altering the course of international relations, military strategy, and global security policies. By mid-1945, World War II in the Pacific was reaching its climax. Despite significant losses and the fall of many of its territories, Japan refused to surrender unconditionally, as demanded by the Allies. The United States, seeking to end the war swiftly and avoid a potentially costly invasion of the Japanese mainland, considered the use of a new, devastating weapon, the atomic bomb. The decision to use atomic bombs was influenced by several factors. U.S. aimed to avoid the high casualties expected from a conventional invasion of Japan. Demonstration of power, the bomb was also seen as a way to demonstrate American military superiority, particularly to the Soviet Union, with whom post-war tensions were already emerging. There was a belief that the overwhelming destruction caused by the bomb would force Japan to surrender quickly. Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped the first atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy, on the city of Hiroshima. The bomb exploded with the force of approximately 15 kilotons of TNT. Immediate effects: the explosion instantly killed an estimated 70,000 people, with the death toll rising to around 140,000 by the end of the year due to injuries and radiation sickness. The intense heat generated by the explosion incinerated buildings and caused severe burns to survivors. The blast radius destroyed nearly everything within a 2-mile radius. Infrastructure destruction: Hiroshima's infrastructure was obliterated, with over 60% of buildings destroyed and much of the city's industry and military infrastructure rendered inoperable. Nagasaki, August 9, 1945. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, a second bomb, codenamed Fat Man, was dropped on the city of Nagasaki. This bomb had an explosive yield of about 21 kilotons of TNT. Immediate effects: the bombing of Nagasaki resulted in approximately 40,000 deaths initially, with the total number rising to around 70,000 by the end of 1945 due to radiation and injuries. Geographical challenges: Nagasaki's hilly terrain limited the bomb's destructive radius compared to Hiroshima, but the devastation was still immense, with significant portions of the city flattened and a large civilian casualty toll. The unprecedented destruction and loss of life caused by the atomic bombings, combined with the Soviet Union's declaration of war against Japan on August 8, 1945, pressured the Japanese government to surrender. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's unconditional surrender, marking the end of World War II. Human suffering: the survivors of the bombings, known as hibakusha, faced lifelong health issues, including cancers, chronic illnesses, and severe psychological trauma. The radiation exposure caused genetic damage, leading to birth defects and increased cancer rates among subsequent generations. Both Hiroshima and Nagasaki had to be rebuilt from the ground up. The reconstruction efforts were monumental and required substantial international aid and domestic resilience. The use of atomic bombs sparked intense moral and ethical debates. Critics argued that the bombings were unnecessary and constituted war crimes, while proponents maintained they were essential to end the war swiftly and save lives in the long run. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki marked the beginning of the nuclear arms race, with the United States and the Soviet Union leading efforts to develop and stockpile nuclear weapons. This led to the Cold War era's doctrine of mutually assured destruction, MAD. The sheer destructiveness of nuclear weapons prompted international efforts to control their spread. The Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT, signed in 1968, aimed to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons and promote peaceful uses of nuclear energy. The advent of nuclear weapons fundamentally changed military strategy and international relations. The potential for nuclear annihilation necessitated new diplomatic approaches and conflict resolution strategies to avoid escalation. Hiroshima and Nagasaki have become symbols of peace and anti-nuclear advocacy. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park and the Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Museum educate visitors about the bombings and promote a message of nuclear disarmament. The bombings have been extensively covered in literature, film, and art, reflecting on the human cost of nuclear war and advocating for peace. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were not just pivotal events in World War II but also transformative moments in world history. They highlighted the devastating power of nuclear weapons, reshaped global politics, and left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. The legacy of these events continues to influence international relations, nuclear policy, and peace efforts to this day.